You're standing.
I'm standing.
It is what it is. We typically get.
That'll work for us. It should.
Oh, we'll get it.
Well, yeah, it's me long.
Yeah.
So that's just what happens, but.
Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah.
All right, well, does anybody want to get a coffee or everybody ready to go? All right.
I'd like to call the budget preparation in. I guess we'll turn it over to.
All right, so the first one we're going to talk about today is Parks and Green Space. We're going to do Parks and Green Space, SDSS, and administration and legislative. So that will cover administration, obviously, council, bylaw. So this one's pretty simple. The only question that we kind of came up with, and I'm sure that there's a reason, I just don't know it. But why does the town pay for like the septic cost clean out and the utilities for the line?
What's been an MOU for
Okay,
15 years, 20 years? We just historically just always did an
been that
MOU.
way?
I think that MOU needs to be
Updated, yeah.
updated, but it's just historically always been there.
Okay, just because I'm thinking they get the land for free, they collect all the fees, why are we paying the expenses? Like, that's kind of my, I mean,
Typically, the line, they don't imagine that campground doesn't.
Not
I
really
wouldn't think
significant, no.
okay.
If there was enough to cover that, obviously you turn it back to them, but it's not what it is. And what happens, a lot of people out of town come along and they see the keynote. You know, they don't necessarily visit the
The campground, yeah.
campground, but they go down there, and I know they had a plot there. They still do, I think, they collect $5.
Okay,
But again, it's
Very
it's on good faith that someone would actually say.
yeah, no, that's
and
what the
again,
chamber
it's
used to do. in
a lot of people, I know like during hunting season, it's bad. You get guys who go out hunting and stuff and they're out on crown land. They're out of campground and they come back to town and they dump their trailer for parking.
Imagine half the check.
So they book when they book, you say they book the whole place for the weekend?
Yeah. There's like more people that.
What does that cost?
Cool.
Yeah.
Their instruction website, what do they know? All documents,
They, like they have somebody down there, so they pay that guy, or they just give them free,
There's a homeless person,
homeless person?
yes, that lived in the
the
campground.
retired vet who's taking care of camping people have to take
Yeah.
all kind of a deal with staying there.
Typically, lines have most years had somebody more or less staying down there. Like for a couple summers, it was Maggie Culford. For a couple summers, it was I want to say Les Sponigo. They typically do have somebody who's a member who kind of, even if they're not staying there, they're kind of down there regularly, keep an eye on it. They usually have their trailer down there just so they go down
Yeah,
and keep an eye on
you don't
things
want
and
to
collect the money and whatever.
That's great. Hopefully.
Yes, with the, again, not homeless person, but retired vet.
Yeah.
Vulnerable population.
Hopefully we can get them where they're self-staying and drop that back to them, but for now, I guess
Okay, I'll leave it in there. I mean, we can discuss it when we, but I just didn't, I'm like, I didn't understand what they were collecting. But, okay, so that's basically what was kind of in there from before. So I just left it.
This 1803 number, it looks like it just repeats.
Well, so that's just what, like, they had in the draft budget from 2020, when they projected out. So they just, that they had 1,800 in each of them, and then what they do is they just added 1.5%. That's why 1803, I change it back to 1,800. So, I mean, last year's budgeted for septic was 1,250, and I haven't gone exactly.
Well, I think it's fairly variable depending
Depending on how much it gets used, right? So, when we get to the next budget meeting where we start talking, there will be changes to the budget just based on new information that comes through. And I'll highlight those changes before we start, but for now, these are the numbers. So then down at green space, that's the 4,000 that Communities in Bloom has asked for. And then the tree maintenance replacement, I talked to Andrew, and apparently we have a whole bunch of old elm trees that are dying. The cost to remove all of them is $20,000. So we did say we could do it in like phases.
Well, plus there's specific timing in regard,
Yeah,
but can only remove them a certain time.
yeah, but so we just thought 5,000 was a quarter of them this year.
Are we doing it in conjunction with Communities in Bloom, or is the town doing it alone?
Well, it would be us, right? But we have to pay for the tree removal. There are trees. All right, any questions on those two?
Just an added note, we'll look at replacing those trees in 2023 budget, probably with columnar, something that's easier to maintain.
There's lots of grants up there.
Arbor grants and all that kind of stuff, so we'll start looking for that over the summer.
We actually did have an arborist come through and do a whole like evaluation of all the trees and make recommendations what would be good replacement options. Like, we do have that already.
We do, I have that report.
Yeah.
Yeah, good to follow what an arborist wants, right?
Yeah, the professional, qualified person has already kind of given us those recommendations.
That's right.
So,
Yeah.
rather than just somebody saying, oh, well, I like this, and put it in an appropriate.
Worst thing municipalities do is plant spruce trees in a muni and plant those stupid maple trees. They're just useless, they're messy. And the bam poplars, the female poplars.
The fluffy ones?
Oh, the fluffy ones, yeah, and say no more about the female poplars, but they are new. Sorry, Cindy, go ahead.
Okay, so we'll move on to SCSS. So the county contribution is about 23,000. And then we had program revenue of 1,000, and then grant, which the seniors grant or the volunteer appreciation?
The volunteer appreciation, yeah.
Grant for about $2,000. So that's where all the revenue comes from. The salary is one person 2 days a week, which we talked about last meeting, sharing with the rec center. So that's at a salary of $25 an hour, like 2 days a week. And then the benefits on top of that. And then we kept this, like, truly, we cut it yesterday when we were on. There's like maybe course that they might want to take for about $325. Mileage, that's back and forth to the county, because the county can say they would
Still orientate.
their orientator and train her, so, or then him, person. And then advertising and printing, we just put $500 in there. Volunteer appreciation, because I'm sure this year it will be a bigger event. Restrictions being lifted. So, the increase in budget is an in-person event rather than here's your bag, pick it up and take it for your volunteer time. Office supplies, 500, resource materials, 500, and then program expenses, because it's going to be a short year, because we don't have one yet. we just kept it to 3,000. We're just trying to keep the budget. It's gonna be tight, like. Unfortunately, there's not a ton of funds, so we have to cut where we can.
And part of those program expenses, I don't even think we're gonna use that. Part of that is, us, the FCSS person involving her or himself with the group, right? And getting to know the groups and working and helping the group. So it's not like we're gonna be doing a bunch of programming for the rest of this year, because I think there's some getting to know the community that's gotta happen. So, we maybe even use less of that, because we do have to do an analysis of what the community actually wants, what they need as opposed to what they think they need. So, some of that may not even be used this year.
Questions on that one?
And then we do know that there's specifically that volunteer appreciation grant available through the government.
That's what we were talking about, yeah.
Okay.
We have to apply for that pretty soon, and,
Still not open.
no, I know, and the competition closed Friday, this Friday, we had 4 applications for the position. Kind of cool. How many?
That's a
4. Yeah, no, it was good, so I'll look at them next week, and we'll get this person on quickly as we can. This is not a new position, that's why we can do that. Thanks, CFO Cindy.
Okay, now on to the big one. So property taxes, these are the numbers from the assessment calculated at current mill rate. So residential assessments are up, commercial is down, and down significantly.
Say that again?
Residential has gone up, assessment, but commercial has gone down. So that's, and then, yeah, I didn't change the school resident, because I will change it once I have the numbers, but it's an in and out in the budget, so it has no effect on the bottom line, because we collect it and then we just remit it to the province. So, those numbers aren't correct. I think it's more like 100,000, but, I have to just get the numbers and put the thing in. But it's an in and out, so you'll see the same numbers on the expense side, so it's got no bearing on the numbers. Penalties on taxes, I just kept them relatively the same, but we did run aged on the taxes. There are 2 people that haven't paid taxes since 2008. One is deceased, so we have to figure out deceased.
Let's go after the.
But somebody owns the house, like there's, it's gone somewhere.
In a stage or
Yeah,
whatever.
or it's been handed down to somebody, so, but, yeah, and actually, the other one is, I'm thinking before 2018, because the report only goes to 2018, but it's a big number in 2018, and then it's a smaller number going forward.
What is the regulation after 2 years?
2 years, you can do a tax, yeah, so I don't know why that hasn't been done.
But it will be.
But there's basically not including 2021, because we have to make sure that those numbers are correct, because I heard from Stalin that there was the Royal Bank remitted payment to us for property taxes, however, did not give us a list of whose property taxes were paid. And for some reason, they couldn't get one. So I have to, which seems weird to me that the Royal Bank wouldn't have a list.
It just gives the lump sum.
Yeah, they did set transfer, and usually there would be a list of it saying,
Of course, yeah.
oh, this is the tax rolls, yeah.
Yeah.
But for some reason, they couldn't get one, and they were trying to guess, and
That should make sense.
no, it doesn't. So I just haven't had time to look into it, because, so that's on my list. But for because the amount for 2021 is really high, so I'm thinking that's why. But from 2020 back, it's $36,000 that has been collected. So, so we need to get on that and, start telling people we're selling their house if they're not paying. Like that one guy, that one person is probably 1, 2, 3, 4, probably 5 years. Plus the current year. because I'm assuming he's just not gonna start paying.
Ever been hounded?
He's never, like, I don't know why this was never,
Like, how does this happen?
Person is still here, or the place is boarded down, like it's.
I don't know, all I have is a name, I don't know the address,
Well-
because I just had the list this morning, but,
Bylaw and the CO will be investigating all that, so we know.
because you just ran that on
I just ran it advertising.
Wednesday,
Yeah, I just wanted to give you something. I wanted to see where we were with tax arrears.
Yeah,
Because I had a suspicion that we hadn't collected a bunch. So 36,000 is a lot of money
well, and plus whatever's owing for
for
2021.
2021, yeah.
So, I mean, I just kept it the same. Franchise revenue, that's really an estimate, I haven't had to truly investigate what we get. That's just based on prior years. We get paid from ADCO and Fortis for franchise fees for having like the lines in our town. And so they pay us, they collect it from the customers and then they send it.
It's
It's on your bill.
It's at our discretion. We can set it at zero or a bajillion dollars, or set it to whatever we want.
Yeah.
It's a backdoor tax where everyone who pays utilities in town, it's adds their bill,
Yeah.
and then the utility provides it to us, but it's we set the rate, right?
Yeah.
We have to sign an agreement with them.
I think we should put it to zero because it's just a backdoor tax, but yeah, it's one of my big pet peeves of it, it's just an underhanded backdoor tax, but.
However, you put it to zero and then you put a tax on the other end.
At least you're calling it out, instead of people saying, why is my NMAX bill so high? I mean, you're, at least the money is transparent, that it's a tax.
I mean, but it says right on there, franchise payable to.
Sure, but. Well, then there's the other side of it, any empty lots, like all those industrial lots and stuff, they don't have utility bills, they're not paying their share of that tax.
And then return on investment is just interest on our savings. And then attorney general fines is just when we like get a ticket, get a cut.
We get it from the RCMP.
Yeah.
Road takes 40% for their coffers, they take 15% off a ticket for the fine ticket surcharge fee, and we get the rest.
I know this is a tough question here, and I know you can't answer it, but signal.
Yeah, that's the answer.
GST, if we were to get a GST refund, that would be in here, but we don't know, like, indications are that.
Well, indications are that there's a GST problem, and I can see that where it is in GP, like I can see why. If just from watching the way that they're receiving money, I can see what the issue could possibly be. We did do some digging around in GP with the consultants, and they think something has been erased at a very high level, and that could be the problem. So it's on our list of things to go through with the GP consultants and figure it out. However, we did also find a letter from some company that I don't know who hired them, previous administration, that went through our GST to collect any outstanding GST that we had, and it wasn't a lot, and it was just completed last year. So, and it was only like $2,500, of which they took $1,300 of or something. Like if we had to pay them a big fee to find it, and then we have to give them most of it. Like they work on a contingency. Whatever they find, they take a percentage of.
Likely there is not a big.
So I'm not sure. I do know on the book, there's a GST refund sitting there of about $40,000. So, but it wouldn't be on here because we wouldn't even show GST in these numbers. Like it was just, what's the issue? Like, I mean,
So the issue was
I
returns incorrectly?
I think it wasn't being recorded correctly in the book. And so it wasn't being remitted correctly. Like, so for instance, when they sell a gym membership in GP, they put in, let's say it's $30, okay? Number simple. So with GST, that's $31.50. So they just put in the whole amount, $31.50, that goes to the GL. It doesn't split out the GST. So the GST is not going to the GST GL, it's just going to the, like, gym membership.
And
So-
that's a dollar $1.50 we would have to pay.
we would have to pay, but I think it's happening, like, depending on how they receive funds when they come in, it can happen both ways, right? So until I get in there with the consultants and dive into it, I think, because we're not really using GP right now either, I can't see how it's being recorded.
We need to get off track.
No, that's totally,
It's a good question.
so I do know that we did find that letter of somebody that we paid to go through the book, and, like, literally it was $2,500 of which.
All right. I was
1,100.
hoping with $250,000 sitting there that-
Well, I was, yeah, I mean, and I haven't really had a chance to dig into it, but, it is on, like, my list of things to do. Okay, and then we're at miscellaneous revenue and rebates. In the budget for 2021, it shows 14,000. In there was donations of 8,000. There was a few things that were listed there. And so because it's kind of an arbitrary number, we just went with 3,500 because I don't know if they can donate, and if it donates probably to Communities in Bloom or to FCSS, or nobody just donates to the town. I think they donate enough on their taxes. They don't need to just show up with a check. So we just kept it to 3,500. NSF charges, so if somebody bounces a check, we charge them back. That's what that is. Tax certificates, so if somebody needs a tax certificate because they're selling, 1,500. If they need a compliance letter to say that their property is in compliance with all the bylaws, that we just put 500 in there. Business licenses, we just kept it at 12,000. Last year was 12,370. Now the operating grant, that is the actual that we are getting this year. I just looked it up. So we're getting 44,000. And what the letter said that I saw from Donna was that they front loaded last year. So they gave us more last year and less this year. That's cool. Yeah. And then the conditional local government and agency grants, I have 450,000 in there. That is approximately what's sitting in on QuickBooks as not used from prior years. So that's where that number comes from. Whether that number is accurate or not, I can't give you a yes or no, because we haven't gone through all the grants. But from what's been transferred in and out, we went through it, Donna and I, one day, and I think everything's been allocated, but that's what's sitting there. We don't budget for amortization because it's a non-cash item, so.
There's an explicit, I don't have a copy of the MJ with me, you guys do, you can probably look it up, there's stated as.
Okay, well, I can include it, but.
It is explicit.
Yeah, because it wasn't in any of the previous, and it wasn't in any of the projections.
Yeah, we started including it recently. There's
Okay.
explicit reference in the new MJ that.
Then it'll be about $700,000. That just makes the budget a whole lot
I realize, whether we like it or not, it is
Yeah.
explicitly supposed to be in there.
Okay. Now, salaries and wages, this one is a little bit, so it's really low and it could go higher depending on what you guys decide to do. Donna and I have gone over this a million times, but it's basically her and I at the old CAO's wage, like for the full year, plus 1.5 uni clerks, and then part of the bylaw salary because Barry does do work for us. So we wanted to reflect that in the administration budget. If you were to, like after May, get some other people in here, our prediction is 125,000 plus benefits for a C, and there's no benefits in here for Donna and I because we don't have benefits. So is 125,000 for a CAO full-time, and then 75,000 for a part-time CFO. That's 3 days a week for a CFO. If you cut it down to 2, which you might be able to do if everything was running smoothly, then it would be about 55,000. plus benefits. So, which would add a significant amount to the budget.
We wouldn't have to pay benefits on a 2-day position, would we? Most organizations.
But you
don't.
still have CPP and EI
Yeah,
and WCP
and vacation.
and vacation pay. So you'd have those benefits, which aren't included. You don't collect that, right? So normally on the fee, just going back, like on your guys' financials, like CAO benefits have been anywhere from 15,000 to 20,000 at an $85,000. Usually works.
So the last column is 2021.
Yeah. And I tried to split out wages, like she budgeted salaries as one whole number of 600. She did have them broken down a little bit, but
What is our pension? Like, how does it work? Do the employees contribute?
Yes.
Or is it solely the town?
no, they
And how much does the town contribute?
last year we contributed 9.39%.
And is it a DC or a D?
Oh, it's
And what do we do for vacation? Like, what are their, is it labor standards? Or do
Yeah.
Okay. And what about sick days? What is the
they collect a bank.
Oh, so they're able to pay it out when they leave? That's part of it?
I don't know, it doesn't say in the union agreement what happens when people leave. Yeah, I mean, vacation, definitely, but that's labor
Yeah.
standards, but sick pay is like a discretionary kind of, like you don't have to leave sick pay, so.
Well, somebody, it's
It's in the
sick
union.
isn't a day off, so if you never got sick, you never used it, then what, there shouldn't be.
Yeah, and there, but there's nothing.
But their government's payout, you accrue so much a month, and when you leave, like my dad got a year's payout on his sick pay, and he worked for the federal government.
It does say like bank time and stuff can't be carried over, it has to be paid out every year, but I'm not banking.
No, we're not banking, we're not over, there's no banking and there's no overtime, shut it off.
Yeah.
With the
Well,
exception
except
of public
public
works.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, you bank like it's not very much, sick pay per. I can't remember this. But, everybody.
It COVID.
Yeah, so that's the pension, pension, and it went down a bit this year, I can't remember the exact number. So their portion, so that ours. But that's up to a max amount, and then it goes up after that, so. So most people fall within like the lower rate, but max. So high rate. But only up over the max, like go to a max. So then we have severance pay, that is our estimation of the total severance. Paid or already paid or owing.
Did you guys, question, sorry, I had asked this past, did you guys get the opportunity to go through everyone's employment contracts? See if there's any weird variances in regard to payouts and such, but people have been promised in their offer letter? Like, is it the regular
Well, there's nobody
2
left.
weeks
There's
or?
nobody left.
But Andrew was hired by Tamara and Barry was hired by Tamara. Like, what are their offer letters stating in regards to? If we let you go, we have to pay you out.
Yeah, I haven't looked at those two. And I did read Andrew.
Everybody was hired by Tamara.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah, but Kate is in the union, so she follows it. Like that.
And Andrew and, without divulging anything, Andrew and Barry have new offers, there's no mention of the 14-page contract and all that stuff that was there before. Very
the NDA.
none of that. So, but we do have to take the time to rip all that stuff apart, just to make sure it's cataloged properly, that any Andrew and Barry are the last two hired, so simplified.
And, that severance pay is estimated based on conversations we've had, and, it could definitely go up, depending on how direction.
Which we can go in camera and discuss at a later date. if you want more information, or we can do that at the end of the day.
Training and courses, we, put in $2,000, which, I mean, obviously, we don't anticipate too many.
Only if it's required for a license issue, probably public works. Other than that,
Benefits, that's kind of my estimate, based on,
so what was benefits covered before?
she just had it all lumped. Workers' comp, I had 12,996 in there, but it's actually, I guess, 10, like, just about 10,100, not as high, so that number will come down, that'll be whatever changes.
And that would vary someplace else there too.
Yeah, like, honestly, the budget, it was not detailed, it was very high level. So it was really difficult to kind of allocate these numbers where they belonged, and then stuff was lumped together. So sometimes you'll see a big number on the left, and then you'll see a little number in my budget, but there's other numbers in other places that were included. We have nothing for conference or membership fees because we're just not, and nothing for mileage. Just said we can't this year.
For lunch.
Yeah, no lunch meetings.
Put a bit of money.
Nobody's eating.
So this is this current year's budget, hasn't there been plays going to conferences?
Well, Andrew went, but that's Andrew's budget. His budget's different. than this
Okay,
one.
Kelly's budget's different
Yeah.
too. Okay,
Yeah.
this is specifically.
This is specifically this
Administration.
office administration, yeah.
And Andrews is all prepaid from before. So this will be done for the year, and it's not likely Kelly will go into their year.
Postage, freight, and courier, 7,500 postage rate went up this year. That's at 400 bills a month. Then we added some for like the checks that go out and other miscellaneous things. So, 7,500. Telephone, I think her number has all the telephone in it, like the 12,000, that's why ours is like 6,000. Internet. And then advertising, that would just be the, like our daily page in the target, our weekly page in the target. We're not really planning on advertising anywhere else other than like website, Facebook, and the target. So, consulting services, I believe is engineering, right, Donna? 5,000?
Yeah, just for any kind of miscellaneous stuff that we need them to do throughout the year. We may or may not need them to do anything, but that's the budget they set in case we need stuff done from them. The engineering costs for potentiality of the building next door, 2 doors down, is not in this one. It's under control. It's going to the tax roll. Contract is good. Thank you.
Assessment services, his bill's around 11,500. Contracted services, this one might change because I don't remember if it's in there or not, because we were talking about where I was going to put in.
Yeah.
So that would include building cleaning, public works cleaning, district cleaning, cemetery mowing, and then the GP consultant. Because she had everything lumped in hers, like I said, her budget was very high level and she didn't split it out by department. So all departments were included in one budget. So Legal fees at 75,000, which is what I had asked for in a previous council meeting and was approved, so that's what that is. Audit fees, we put, I know the budget, like, the thing was at 11,000, but it could go up based on scope of work. And so we put 15,000 in there just because of the state of the book right now. And I just don't, I'd rather be safe than have 11 and then have to come back and say, okay, the audit's gonna cost 15. Perfect. The website, 10,950, however, it has been already paid, so it's sitting in prepaid, so that is like already funded or already paid for. But that is the cost of 1 year's website. So computer services and repairs, this number will change. How you did buy a computer, hers is like the oldest computer and it's about as fast as turtle.
Chisel in a rock,
So, like it's probably older.
older than dirt.
Yeah, so we got her. So this number will change a little bit.
No, that won't even come close to the 21,000.
No. Building repairs and maintenance, that's just any repairs and maintenance in this building. We don't anticipate any, but you never know if when it breaks or happen. Outdoor repairs and maintenance, we put $1,000. We really don't think outside.
Light bulbs and stuff that
Yeah,
we
like- Equipment repairs and maintenance, we put $1,000. Keep something to break. Insurance, that's for this building. Bank fees, service charges, we put $1,000. We don't really pay bank fees other than like or wire transfers,
So like, this prior insurance amount was 88,000.
because it included everything.
Okay.
Yep.
Just checking.
And our premium this year is 73.
So 107, I thought.
No, the payment is 107. What I'm saying is the what we call the buildings, what our actual premium for the buildings is 73.
I thought it
Like
was
for our-
107 plus 11.
Yeah. What they charge for content. So
Oh, okay.
that's what this number reflects. Yeah, you're 100% right on 100.
General goods and services, we put 6,000, that's purchasing.
Yeah.
Yeah, which we don't need any of for like the next 10 years. So. But yeah, all that,
Which we will,
no, we don't, like, honestly, the guy from Uline asked if she was project fine. That's not. So I'm like, no. That's not allowed. Promo supplies, that's anything that we just buy with our on it, which we don't anticipate. In there. Stationery, we kept it down to 3,000 because we have a stockpile of stuff from last year. Computer software and licenses is around 30,000. TP alone is, I believe, 8,000 or 9,000. And then anything else that's we're cutting it down. I think last year,
$47,000 in software. So we can't use.
and none of it works.
None of it works.
None of it. We're not doing any of it.
can we sell it?
No.
Nope.
Yeah, no.
Let's go with US.
So we're sticking to what we need, what we use, the rest is gone. Equipment leases and expenses, that's the photocopier, postage machine, and sorter and folder machines that we have. We're not going to hold any special events. We're not.
Or just don't tell us if you do it.
Utilities and power, so for this building, for the administration, that's the 6 and the 45, the 267 was like the whole entire town still. Water and sewer, 3,000 for here, but I don't even see that, but I think we can put it in. Start ourselves with water. The education requisition is just the numbers from that. Same with, so the next three numbers are just out. We didn't put anything in there. So there's usually a transfer to capital reserve and a transfer franchise fee to reserve. I think it was 85,000 and 8,000. We just took those out because this year with the extra costs of legal and everything, like there's no extra money. There's none. So conditional local government and agency grants, that's the 3,500 that you guys said has always been in the budget. So that would have been the Historical Society's 500 that we gave them. Mercedes asked for her Easter egg hunt. Write-off and uncollectible accounts, we put 1,000. We're not planning on, we're going to be the collection. Pay your bill. And then the 3,920, 3,500 for that one. So, yeah, that's it. Any questions on?
The WCB just covers the.
No, that's the WCB for everybody. Yeah, I could split it out, right?
And then that, of course, goes up a bit.
Yeah, like our rate would change, but yeah.
Depending on the pool.
Your yes. We handle Alberta Forestry Environmental Grant. They do for any town, 2,500. Biologists come in with a plan. They pay for all the trees, all new trees, want to plant shrubs, flowering shrubs, fruit bearing. They're planting over 5,000 trees at our church. And doing all this stuff, and you don't pay for it, that's part of it. They get their money from the forestry project,
Okay.
drawings.
So they can match with our response, and that's who again, Dave? Sorry.
AWES, Alberta Woodlot Extension Society, that's Undershow. He's the presidente. To approach it now, they're getting ready to do their projects, well, planting fall, spring. They'll tell you what trees you should plant, the ones that don't go into the sewer lines, the ones that don't overhang roads that are hard. And that's all done. They apply for the grant.
Thank you. That's going to help a lot. We could get a lot done this year with that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That'd be nice.
They're making this easy on me today.
Oh, no.
This is the easy
Come together, you'll be banned.
This is the easy part. What are you talking about?
Well, I will say, we spent hours at this. This
Oh,
has
this
not
week
been-
I got no work done on my normal job. Me and Donna were on Zoom calls like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah. I won't tell you what we look like talking to each other.
Well, I was fine because I was in the office.
Okay, never mind.
All right, so legislative.
This is
This
you
is
folks.
council. So benefits, mayor and council, that, you know, your CPP, conference fees. We put in $6,000 just because there has been money spent already this year on conferences. I will get that number because there was more coming in.
Like you mean just webinars?
Yeah, like seminars that you guys.
The emergency, we did the policing one.
Yeah.
And we did the emergency management.
But is there any coming? Did you have any? I didn't study your sheet that you sent me the other day. I just.
No, it just had the
It has some.
policing and the emergency management.
but no dollars spent on this month.
Just budget and library. that's
Okay,
regular.
yeah, just regular.
I think they're just mileage, because it was free course.
Okay.
There was no.
So the number might go up, the council number, because I think that's just your guys' salaries, and I did think it was like extra in there. Which I need to do, so it'll go up a bit. Election, there's no election. here, so we don't know. And then mileage, you put 3,000, training, 2,500. Oh, conferences, that was AUMA, that's what that was, yeah. But we can decide how many people, like, as a council, you guys decide how many you're gonna send. And I
So is that, so the conference fee is specifically for AUMA?
Or
Do we have a training, a
Yeah.
separate?
So there's $2,500 in training,
Okay.
so it's not much. And like I said, I have to calculate how much is spent already, but I think it was just last month. But also, and then public relations, we put in 3,000, so. And then council meeting and general expense, 400, so like. Meeting.
Amy doesn't pay for them.
Out of his big large salary.
today's bill was $40, 40,000.
Yeah. So any questions there?
And it'd be up to council to decide who goes where, who does what. Administration doesn't tell you what to do. Once you pass your budget, you as a council figure it out. And then you just submit and everything's signed off.
Is it something we should do right now or wait till?
So that's the slicing and slicing.
That's the,
I think this year's, because we're certainly past that, but
yeah.
let's start next year. Now,
For the RMA.
Make sure.
You can certainly vote on who goes in a council meeting. It's certainly up to all of you. Once you have your budget, you can determine.
And once we, like, when we get to the final budget meeting, I will make sure that I know how much registration is for AMA, and so you know how many people can go, and like, how much has already been spent on training. Yeah. That's that. I'm gonna skip over to development, because we'll put Mary in there.
Yeah, I was just gonna comment on disaster services.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Basically, since I'm sitting here, we just gonged it, because we'll look at doing it here in-house anyway. We had a good meeting with, the county disaster services, DDS, and we've got some work to do, as you all know, but that's just, there's no extra expenses. They want to do a regional thing next year, and they're talking buy-in and so forth, and I just said, just leave us alone this year to get stuff done. Even if we go to a regional, which they want to do, we still have control over our own municipal emergency plan to decide what we want to do in this municipality, and we would call out to them for aid if we needed it. But if there's a big regional emergency, then we'd all be participating. So it's kind of up in the air right now, so we allocated the funds.
Okay, so we'll flip over to development. So we just kept it kind of similar to last year, based on, whatever last year's budget was. So, and then as far as expenses go, I have no good authority that we pay 55% of the development fee to the inspections group for when they do their inspections. So it'd be 50. So what happens is they collect the permit fee, they send it to us, and then when they're done their inspection, they bill us, and it's 55%. We're at 55, 45. And then the $4,000 contract services, that's for the developer that we have to, Donna, maybe.
Yeah, our development permits, I wanted to have a registered planner. She's very inexpensive and highly qualified. She's one of the few registered planners in the province that used her before. She's redone all her development permits because they were wrong. They didn't coincide with the new MGA. They didn't coincide with the letters we have to send out. So the 3 development permits that are in the works, she's got them just about done. Very reasonable cost, not to be thousands and thousands of dollars. But at least our development permits will be legal and in line. And we need to have it right, especially with the cannabis that's coming in, has to be done right. Otherwise, he doesn't get a DTLC. So that should be coming this week, and then we have 3 development permits, a new house, business, and the third offhand. Oh, the third was for developing all the proper forms, because we have to send out letters at a certain time. We have to have the development permit say certain things, and she's already found things on the new house coming in that just with the rules, just small little things that would have been missed before. So I hired her when I was in Rimby. She's 100% reasonable. That way we don't have any errors with development. We can't afford to have errors. So I'd rather have it done right at the permit stage. And so far everything is working.
And then the incentive program, I don't know too much about it. It's
Taxes in a program of some sort. I don't
to attract
know.
people.
Yeah, 5-year incentive plan on new builds. Wait, is that what we're talking about?
I'm
Yeah.
assuming so, and I think we're gonna have to talk about it because I do a 5-year tax incentive, of course. When you do build, you don't get your taxes back in a long time anyway for a lot of it. We have to look at how that balances out with what we want to do with how we're moving ahead with the water system and everything. So I think it's a good discussion for council to have about what kind of incentives, if you want to revisit that, what kind of incentives you want to use. Do you want to even do that? Because the town cut their taxes quite a bit the last couple of years. And so we have to look at the stats, because did the incentive work? Have we got a lot of new folks in town? I mean, I'm just throwing questions out. It's a discussion for you to have. It's like a wonder for us, right? So
When did that kick in?
way before our time.
Yeah, so like, yeah, no, like that, actually, they've been here for, I don't know, 6-7 years.
No.
And realistically, I don't know that I can think of a single project that moved ahead because of the, sure, there's houses that got built that used it either way. I'm not opposed to the incentive program, but I can't think of a single circumstance where it was the deal breaker.
No.
Yeah.
But we had a couple, like, grants built that project during that time frame, didn't we?
But again,
But I mean,
I
then
think he was
people are
right,
gonna,
that wasn't what made his decision or
no,
not.
but for us to buy them, it might have made our decision.
Maybe, but I guess my point is, I think I agree with Donna, we should actually look at, are we actually getting value? Because it actually is a significant cost.
Yeah.
And I don't know that if the point is to attract development, I don't know that it's achieving that purpose. Maybe, I mean, it's not bad. And I actually really agreed with it back when Barry and them did that. Like, I actually thought it was a good idea. I'm just not seeing a lot of tangible, actual results out of it. So I agree, we actually probably should look at what have we built and when and who's actually used it and
Well,
look at it more
COVID,
holistic.
3 years of COVID and skyrocketing inflation is gonna have a huge bearing on development anyway, so you can't even
So that's
look.
what inflation's been the last year, what about the 6-7 years?
But I'm
before
talking
that,
about
right?
COVID.
We need to look at this in an
Yeah,
actual
COVID,
analytical
like, I mean, the last 3
Inflation
years.
in the last couple of years hasn't been much, but it's gonna be like,
moving forward, sure, but that's as far as the
Well,
historical
lumber
success of.
too.
No, I
historical
totally
success of
agree.
Development,
No.
incentive, the inflation is a new thing,
That
that
is
has nothing to do with it.
exactly the
But
conversation
the
that
cost of
Donna and I had
lumber has
yesterday.
gone up a lot in the last.
We've got to look at
In the last year and a half, yes. So,
we've got to look at I agree. We've got to look at a cost benefit analysis to it, because you can't be giving away the farm on small things. You can attract bigger things that are going to get you developers in here.
well, I agree, I guess it's kind of my side, we should look at this in a very analytical fashion, on paper, it sounds really good, and in practice, I don't know it's achieving much.
We would agree. We don't think it is either. Very good.
Just to add a little bit of conversation. I do know the fourplexes that in Madison, the whole conversation with Grant at that time considering that project. He approached council and indicated that it didn't make any feasible sense for him to, at the time, doing more work in Thorsby due to various, reasons that he had. That's when council had a heart-to-heart with G&N Contracting and asked them what could we do to, kind of create some opportunity with them, because those fourplexes were scheduled to go to Kelmar. And that's what was moving that work. It was council then went to the drawing board and created. That's how kind of where the development kind of came up. I do agree, it hasn't done a darn thing for really house development, but I think there's, can't deny the value that there was in creating the duplexes that we have. Because that has, it would be my belief that those projects, I would say, might have teetered on not happening if they didn't have the development incentive to kind of back it up or support it, right? But has it created other opportunities for housing? Not so much. Has it helped with commercial on Main Street? Probably not so much, right? So that's a conversation council has to have. But yeah, that's my input on it, and I think there was some value. Is there still value? I don't know. That's what this.
Fair enough. Awesome. Thank you, Barry.
Thank you.
Yeah, we will definitely sort it out, take a look at it, and maybe council decides to do it. Maybe council decides not to. Maybe with as the water moves forward and everything moves forward in a big way, is what you want is folks to because of, not because we're dragging them in here, right? And I don't mean that negatively, believe me. We gotta look at that. So we will table that for a cost benefit discussion at our council. Sure.
All right, any questions on development? No? Okay. If we could take a break.
Oh, come on, I'm ready to go.
And then we'll do Barry, and then we'll,
That's it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Today. Okay. Yeah, because public works will be on Tuesday.
Yeah. Public Works
So
is in Carl.
I do.
Fresh air,
Might be.
my hair.
Yeah.
I just need to know these things. I have a data.
I actually thought it was gonna, like, that you guys would come in.
Oh. One of the things we're gonna ask too, just, is we're gonna ask for a special meeting on Sunday to pass this thing.
Like the hash and
Flash
splash.
and splash.
Because I said if we did it at a regular council meeting, we might be here till 2 in the morning.
Well, and again, I read, like Darryl was saying, tell me of the whole thing. I don't want to ask a million stupid questions tonight.
Yeah, I want to
The
see
whole
the
thing,
big
then I
picture.
can ask my stupid question.
Yeah.
I don't want to ask you a question about every line item, that's just wasting everyone's time. But yes,
Yeah.
I read.
I'm like, why is Cory so smart? It's just a.
Yeah, where you're like, oh, well, he finds clear the, but again, let's see the whole thing,
Yeah.
because it likely will explain itself, and then I will have questions.
100%. That's what we want.
And then I'm like, oh.
Yeah, but that's okay.
No, this
That's
is
okay.
good. You have to know where's that.
Okay, I'll have to adjust my expense.
And then we also don't want to do this at night because nobody's fresh, right?
Yeah, like if we
Even after a long day.
Well, yeah, so we start council at 7 to do the budget, we would be here till midnight at
Or
least,
more.
or more, and I said, I'm not interested in driving home.
Well, you're not fresh to work with figures. Either you're better off coming in
Yeah.
at 10 in the morning and we have lunch and so forth and we spend till 4. You can do this in a day, it's not a problem. And then you're fresh. So,
Actually, I
we'll have binders.
Yeah, especially after being sick,
Yeah.
I know how that feels.
Yeah, we'll have binders for you and everything.
Yeah, we'll get binders put together before, like, so that you have time to look at the whole
That's great.
picture
We'll have a week and a half. or more.
before we get come together to hash.
We've splashed quite a bit already.
Well,
but-
Donna and I have been literally on the phone hours,
Hours.
like hours, we've been on Zoom.
But the
discussing,
council
talking,
package,
going back and forth.
Council Tuesday night is just public works and that's coming from the hotel. And that's it.
hopefully by the end of this, we can cut our meetings down.
Oh, we're gonna be talking about it.
Yeah,
We can't keep up, lady.
we have, like, it's a lot.
1 cow, 1 cow. Then you have
Well, then it'll cut our expenses down.
Yeah. Well, you have more time to do other things.
No, because your
No, you're-
honorarium,
Our honorarium requires.
like your
Yeah.
800 and something a month.
Yeah, that
your
doesn't get
800
cut.
something a month.
Oh, pardon me.
But you'll have more money, or you have more time to work with the community group.
Well, we can do more public relations stuff.
100%.
Yeah, I guess.
Which is very. Didn't like. Because now we track everything. I don't know. So
My big
it wants
computer's
you
a
to
problem.
Track all the meetings you've attended, all your public relations things, all of that kind of stuff. Certain ones, but
I bought a separate day timer, to just write council stuff, live.
yeah, because I'm like, this month, I'm like, I just wrote in it, family COVID. Everyone,
You know why we do that, though? I'll be honest with you, why we do that. It's not because we're silly. It's because it protects. So that if somebody comes along later and says in a council meeting, you guys aren't doing your job, we can protect you.
Well, there's some of us that definitely do.
Well, sure you do. That happens in every.
Don't worry, you'll still get use that either.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it
At
was
least we
more.
have some. So how was yesterday? What went on? What'd you see? What'd you do? What went on?
Oh, I was trying to lay low because I know I have a little.
Oh,
So I didn't go to the pancake breakfast. And I went to the library and I'm fine. And, like Meg was there, Tamara was there, Doris Mason came with her sister. Gail Pollock was there, Gail the librarian, Gail her husband, myself, Lindsay, my cousin,
So, you know.
the artist husband, Ted Biller,
All right.
Elaine and Grant Biller, Sharon and Kaylin Pollock.
What time is staying at my house?
Oh, there's that lady, I didn't know who she was, and Irma Schmidt maybe? And that was it.
I wonder how the breakfast, did you go to the breakfast, Daryl? And how was the turnout?
I was what?
The turnout.
Good.
Yeah.
The parking lots were full, but yeah, then, so I gave my,
Upstairs.
Really?
That's called utilization.
Our town was a hopping yesterday.
I went over to the complex afterwards and there was nobody there.
did you come in the library? Did you come in the library?
No, but I talked to,
And you missed the art show.
I was there for a month, right?
There was an art show in the library, and it's still there.
What's your name? Meg, is it?
Meg?
I talked to her. And I went to the art station, nobody there. Yeah, I'm good. I talked to Audrey quite a bit. She said she's got like birthday party books for like June, like they're getting like 4 or 5 a month.
Every weekend.
Tons of them.
So I gave my cousin's wife, the artist, a tour of the whole complex. So we walked through every space. And yeah, it was rocking in the bowling area and concession area. And then the broom ball, the game was going on the ice. There was the people in the player boxes, but 2 spectators, that's about it. And then the field house appeared full of tables and the vendors,
Oh, right.
but
No
not so
customers?
much for people.
See much about that, so. I just don't look at the right things. Kind of avoid.
Well, you gotta like the right thing on Facebook to get the information there.
Yeah, we can put it on the sign on the account, vendor market, field house.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, I saw there's a vendor.
Oh, could be because they haven't left town.
I missed it, got my nails done
It's
yesterday.
on the side.
But yeah, it appeared busy because the parking lot was,
Oh, there's so much going on, right?
no rush, but settle down.
Sorry, I want to talk to the Argentina.
Oh, yeah.
But anyhow, he's coming in, defense coming in here. He was telling me that for a 3-day event, that kind of people, they probably need 10 officers. Oh, my God, that's shit. So, he said $1,500.
again, it wouldn't be our bill, it would be.
Right, but,
Yeah.
but under the municipality has to pay it, you can't.
Yeah.
And then we have to
Again,
collect it from the,
But again, I'm fine hearing him out, but I agree, yes, if he wants to put that bill, then wonderful, but like, these are the details he would need to.
Yeah, so we'll listen to him. I got him coming there Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm not saying this is amazing, but I'm not opposed to it just out of hand, I agree, there's details.
But I was kind of surprised that, like you said, they will not have security. They will to satisfy the.
But it won't be.
it won't be suffice. Speaking of police, I've been doing comparison of mill rates and all the things, and what Bentley, I think it was Bentley, has done is they've added a levy to their taxes for the police funding model. So it says right on there, police funding model, and it's a mill rate, and then it covers the cost of.
There was a very explicit letter somewhere along the way from municipal affairs saying that you explicitly cannot do that.
Then why are they doing it?
Probably because they're pissed off about it, because that was our initial take on it, was if that's what they're doing, it should be explicitly conveyed.
And that's what I
to
thought. I
the
thought that's brilliant, because then the
And-
taxpayer knows that that's what that first portion of their
And
taxes.
then municipal affairs actually said, no, like, whoa, you can't do that, that's not okay, like, you have to just eat the, like, they were very clear that that is not acceptable.
And then that makes sense, because I mean, next thing when you put it on there, then you put it on your graders, and you put, I mean, where does it stop?
Well, in this,
You know, I mean,
it's a
what is the only
new,
thing?
unusual expense that's
Yeah.
directly because of their decision.
Yeah. That's why municipal affairs didn't want it, because they didn't want them to be getting calls like,
Well, exactly, that was my take on it, was they
Yeah.
figured, well, this is bad PR for us, we wanna, download costs, but we don't wanna do it if we still, okay.
Somebody didn't get the memo.
Corey said that police levy or whatever, that MTA or the municipal affairs said that you really can't do that. And I said, well, then why?
Well, like I say, I'm fine doing it and having municipal players just be mad because it's appropriate. They made a decision, at least they should get the blame for it.
Yeah.
Bentley's kind of, I grew up around Bentley. Bentley's very rogue.
My dad was.
Well, like I say, and that's just because they're doing it, like, I know municipal players explicitly said, no,
That's right.
I'd be fine if you guys said, we're gonna do it either way, but yeah, fair enough, that's okay by me, like, I get it if they did it.
I know Dickie Dameron too. My dad and Dickie Dameron used to play ball.
My grandpa was the blacksmith at Bentley,
Yeah, yeah. That's
and my
great.
uncle owned the meat market, and my other uncle farms. Now the highway goes right through his farm, and it makes me sad, when I drive on it.
We used to do a lot of socializing in the Bentley bar.
Oh, that's some shop. I think we're getting. I've never been there.
You haven't?
Yes, I have.
Yes, you have. I know you have. I follow your post.
I know, we go there a lot.
I know. Yes, the council meetings are in the bar.
We're at the Bentley bar.
Bentley, yeah.
Right. Yeah, my whole family's buried in that cemetery.
We had some great dances there. Some great fights between Grimby and Bentley. That's before.
No different than what people want.
Or Winoka and Grimby.
More curtain doors.
Okay, everybody's got copied up and everything. I guess we will continue.
All right, I'm gonna turn it over to Barry. Do his presentation of working his fingers.
Okay, thank you, Cindy. Morning, Mayor and Council. So I just prepared a short little PowerPoint presentation, copy version for you guys. Try to keep it, pretty clean. So the first is unique and passionate community. Over the years, fire law enforcement has been delivered to the community. But some view as requiring more work and service delivery on things that matter to residents and businesses. This is where we feel large communities need. To take an active role in the community by working together, we should be able to capture the satisfaction and expectations of the community while capturing the goals of administration and council. So where are we at? right now. The Thorsby bylaw services have often lacked the communication and creativity to deliver positive outcomes for the community. We feel like working together with the community, we will gain valuable community buy-in to how successful bylaw development going into the future. So the third page that you see there, that's kind of the work plan that we created for the year. And as you can see, we have kind of 6 main columns. And under bylaw and agreements, we have obviously enforcement, education. Just in my years of doing bylaw work, and obviously taking on Thorsby, a lot of people just don't know what the bylaws do. They don't know where to find them. They don't know what the code says in relation to them. And so there's just an uncertain understanding of what our bylaws state. And so the education part of it, component, will, I think, reassure residents that, you know, they're in the zone of doing the right thing, and certainly will accomplish, you know, a better relationship with residents rather than kind of a heavy-handed approach, which has probably been delivered for far too many years. So right now, reviewing bylaws that we currently have and revising them and then bringing them forward to administration with some of my key focuses. One of those bylaws that I currently introduced to council was the utility bylaw. A kennel agreement that we currently have. A kennel agreement that we currently have with the town of Thorsby is Blackpool Kennels. And that was a signed agreement that we signed last year. So the animals that we captured, like dogs, will be taking a road trip to Beaumont area. That's where they're going to be going. It's my job to deal with vet issues if we have dogs in distress. Working on business license, which we're working on right now. Animal dog license, dog license, sign applications. So last year there was a follow with some businesses in relation to signage, and so it will be my focus to work with businesses that want to do additional portable signage so that they follow our process and get that permit that they require. Everybody in check.
Sorry to interrupt, is that the whole thing that blew up last year in regards to people having their signs on that empty lot by the Esto and then getting fined and all of that?
People just don't know, you know, in fairness, businesses didn't know, and I think it's how people could have maybe educated a little bit along the way or worked with them. But I think the conversation turned rogue very quickly, and it made the town look bad, right? So I think we can do better with just communicating a better message and going and talk to them directly rather than sending out invoices and notices, all that kind of stuff. So I'll be working with permits, order to remedies, under grants. You know, we had some discussions around summer student grants and what that can help us with the town. Rural mental health grant, Community Champions grant, Choose Well grant. The only reason I took an active role on these is because we don't have an FSS, and it's one of those. It took a little bit of time, but we're happy to take on the opportunity just because we didn't want to miss the opportunity. So, and there again, going forward, that would normally be an FSS role, but we were short on FSS coordinator, so I just jumped in to help support the team and get it done. Working with the schools, so that's what patrols, traffic safety, engaging with some of the various classes within high school, maybe the younger classes, you know, how we can have a cohesive relationship working with them. Crosswalk patrol, child safety. In some of my early findings that I've seen is a lot of kids know some of the crosswalk safety, but they don't but a lot of them don't. So I think there's room to improve upon there and just work with the schools to make sure the kids are crossing the crosswalks in a safe manner, so that both the child is as safe as it can possibly have them, and so they have a good understanding, and both community is aware that we have to go for a little while. Sometimes we just don't know all the rules when crossing the road.
Not to interrupt, Barry, but what we, just to add on what you're saying, we'll be teaching in the pause point proceed. We process the sidewalk, that's a recognition program. We have materials for it, and it works really well. In fact, when Barry and I were sitting out in the mornings at the school crosswalk last week or the week before, we saw some little one kind of half practicing it, right? It was kind of cute. So that's going to be a focus.
So is this a program you guys are gonna go into school and do?
Yep.
I think we're, just, as I heard back from Mark Smith already, what we expect, nothing.
Like I say, we've talked about that in a few times.
They did say that the province is working on a provincial thing because there's many districts in the same position as us, and they're trying to come out with something for everybody. So I'm not sure if that's all. But that could be years ahead. We're back to square one, which
You are due
we
diligence.
do. So something like this is what we have to do.
We almost do, because we know the problem. I mean, I agree. We knew the province was, and they could stop, the school could stop asking. No on
That
it.
is,
But it's up to us now.
I haven't talked with the principal yet. Not stopping this piece, but we have to do more through education and control.
No, and it's good. That's going to be a priority focus for us. So traffic safety, a lot of times in small towns isn't even taught, right? Because what the heck? And we are going to teach traffic safety. We'll move that speed board up a little bit and so on. So we'll be busy. Thank you, Barry, for being on that.
Sorry, one more interruption. So my question is, have we approached the schools with the prior council's idea of them using that high school exit? Yeah, has that been discussed?
Well,
I don't think it's been discussed in any great.
they never mentioned it.
Like that's,
No, it was last time that the crosswalk thing came up and we got told a hard and fast no. That was where well, what other options do we have? That's where the brainstorming came to, but then it was coming into spring and summer before election, so nothing was gonna happen again.
so who should reach out to the school to have that discussion?
Well, administration. But we have to go take a look at what it is and see what it is.
Yeah, have a more coherent plan to go discuss.
I'm gonna give it a call. I'll give the principal a call, just tell him that.
But we got to start moving.
Yeah, we can't see the ground right now.
Well, today, tomorrow we'll see the ground.
It's gonna work, general areas, but.
I'll be honest with you, I'm not prepared to do that till the budget.
No kidding. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's on our radar.
Yeah, I assumed that it had already been a project that was discussed and they're just not moving on it and they just want to focus on what they want, which isn't gonna happen, so.
It's more of a green light.
Hang on, it goes with what you're doing.
So community, public relations, we want to create and kind of, work with the residents on a hydrant angels program. And that just is, making sure that they keep their hydrants cleared, that there's not snow piling up around them in the winter. In my travels, I did notice that there is a garbage, wooden crate that's actually butted up against one of the hydrants in the Madison area, which has to be addressed this spring. Working with our seniors with respect to traffic safety, creating a snow angels program with respect to seniors that maybe don't have the mobility, or, in the later years where they can't get out there and shovel their own. We did have a couple residents call us over the winter months to say, you know what, I just can't do that stuff anymore. So is there any way somebody can help? So that's where we're gonna create an inventory of, a youth inventory kind of directory list where it will indicate, the youth's name, their contact information and what services they can provide. And then it will be up to the, so we'll just keep the list on our website potentially. And it will be up to the residents to call them directly and set up, how they want to, pay them and what they're looking for service. So it allows us to kind of help our youth find work, but at the same time, it gives one location to go to and look for it. So, which in my opinion has been lacking, you know, for many years in the community because our youth aren't getting really great opportunities to find work, and the youth themselves don't know where to look. So there is only so many businesses. So me and Donna have talked quite extensively about that, and we've got some really excited youth that are really kind of developing nicely that want to work on opportunities with the town, and we want to help push them. So,
We have one, believe it or not, who is bidding on stuff. He sounds like, I can't say. This particular youth entrepreneur found liability insurance, not even 16. And he is getting ready to do his business license, and he told me too young to qualify for WP. So he's got all that paperwork, and he's just what we did, you know, he would be one of those entrepreneurs that fit what we need. So he's that case precedent for young entrepreneurs that need liability insurance. Interesting, only charging $500. Pretty good. For $1 million in liability, and he's 15, so pretty cool.
Last year, I asked all the kids, one young fella, just to our website. Shovel. Mom paid me a visit and started screaming at child labor. I just stood there, didn't know what to say to her, like, geez, when I was a kid, it was 50 cents a shovel, and I made a lot of money off it. But since then, Darlene and I, well, Darlene will let me shovel it, but now Dave, our neighbor, do it for us. But I couldn't believe that this mother came at me like that for offering to give her son $25 to shovel 50.
I'll take it. I'll do it. I need another game.
Get me started, or I'll have to be sitting. Continue, Mr. Rash.
Sorry.
So yeah, you know, really focusing on community education. As you've seen, we've been pretty active in the paper with just trying to remind residents, you know, when we had that blockage at Madison area, just reminding them they don't dump things down to bring high cost queues. Certainly reminding residents of the dog license, and just reminding that we're here to help and that we want a proactive approach. Animal health education resource contract or contact completion. That's completed. I just gotta do some last minute little things on it and should probably go live on short. I'm gonna say,
Yeah,
and it is done. So,
yeah, just working hard on the website.
yeah, I just gotta set time to make it live, right? So, and there again, that animal health education resource is just, you know, in the event that, you know, a bird of prey gets hit, that contact information. Somebody hits a steer on the road, you know, that.
Call the butcher.
Yeah, that information. If a dog is injured, where's the closest vets? Where's the closest rescues? And it's a very much a self-guided resource contact page, so that people have kind of a quick snapshot of where they can go and not have to, you know, go all over the place looking for all this contact information. Under vehicles, we have, and then 2 regular articles in the targeted website. Really active on that front, and key messages up there from the office and my lot.
Yeah.
Under vehicles,
Just Barry, just one second. I just want to jump in a positive way.
yes,
You probably noticed the target that the articles that are going in from bylaw aren't dictatorial anymore. You notice that we kind of made them more educative and have to pass the bylaw, and we have to do that, we will, but reminders should be fun and kind of posty, so we changed that tactic. We're getting some good feedback. Thanks, Ray.
Under vehicles, you know, obviously regular maintenance, trip inspection, disinfection, the whole pet, we don't know what that pet may have, so, just doing a regular inspection of the vehicle. And then keeping a good, vehicle standards up, you know, make sure the vehicle's clean, tidy, everybody's working on it, that kind of good stuff. And I will say that vehicle does, attract a lot of attention, so, it does attract the attention in a good way, and that's supposed to get down. If they don't know from the sides, who's coming down the road. So, and I will say, it's a good deterrent also at road crosswalks.
Just gotta stop leaning out the window yelling, me, mom, me, mom.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, so, yeah, it's good, right? So, under administration, animal control course. This is a course that I think would be valuable because, although most dog behaviors are excellent in the community, there are some that I would want to run as fast as I could away, because frankly, they terrify me. So, I have those same concerns in motor also. So, handling animal control and behaviors would be a valuable course to take. I don't have that course right now. The software course, we are looking at not renewing the software that we have right now, because it is a $6,000 hit to the municipality.
American,
Has it been used,
$4,000 US, so $6,000.
which paid last year.
and nobody used?
No, it's not for bylaws.
We can't justify it, we just can't. So that is not reflected in the budget this year. I'm gonna work with Donna to create some more manual templates, and we can still, develop, the necessary documentation and profiles and reporting that we need to do without costing the town a lot of money. We just can't justify the program. It's a big expense for this position, so.
So in regard to the animal control, and I don't know what the investigation course is yet, but is this something we could look at in a relationship with Warburg and do some sort of split? Would they be interested in that? Or?
I'm potentially, I'm gonna always say yes, because, I think they would want me to be safe as well, I hope. So, I'm gonna say yes, and we have
It's not an expensive course either. I send any peace officers or bylaw officers to Classic Kennels in Red Deer. Jim DeBoom is the animal whisperer. I've seen him do some amazing things with animals. He is not aggressive and assertive. He can take a rabid Doberman and calm them down, and that's what you need. You don't need a big fight with someone's animal either, especially if they come along and they see you with a pole around that dog's neck. So it's a $475 gift, $500. So it's not a problem for me to talk to Chris and say, hey, you know, we could do double jeopardy here. So I don't recommend anybody else the province about the police officers that deal with this, but they're used to canine training, and you can't. It is very aggressive, and it's part of the reason, I'll be honest with you, that peace officer died in South Calgary. He's a former CMP member, and God rest his soul, he didn't deserve what happened to him. But there's a whole inquiry was built around that for protocols on animal control. The sad part was the person that killed him was a problem in Turner Valley, and the bylaw folks didn't know how to deal with it, neither did the peace officers. This guy was hoarding dogs, COVID, so when CPO DeBoom went to his home, it just was awful. CPO DeBoom died in front of a cow. He drove the Calgary District 7 in South Calgary, and let him die in the car. You know, it was a horrible event. So from then on, there was a provincial inquiry on how to handle these kinds of animals and what to do, look at for hoarding, vicious dogs, etc. So Jim DeBoom is the premier educator. So yeah, we'll look at a cost share. It's not a problem. We'll charge Warburg $390.
And obviously, an investigative course would be be helpful, just because, the line of work that I am doing is kind of quite investigative. So knowing how to do all that and have it aligned with a good outcome and making sure I cover off all ends, would be helpful. First aid would be helpful to have. The good news is, we do have a decent amount of care. So that's not going to be an added. So yeah, just making sure that the gear that we have is decent and the tools that we have are decent and ordered. Creating those budgets, those forms, monthly reporting, that council, which is to see my activity report, and then a yearly work plan is what my proposal for the bylaw services 2022 work plan are. Moving on to revenue. Next page. So the 2021, we only had the proposed numbers for the budget. We don't have an actual as of yet. So I did not include that for revenues because I wasn't sure exactly where it was ending up. So I think we still working on that correctly. Yeah. So I went off 2021's numbers and just followed that over for 2022. So for dog tags, so that's if we get a couple more dogs that require that yearly license, that would make up.
Great. So we, the town, because I don't own a dog, but I know in the past that you had to renew your dog tags every year, but then someone got the brainwave to change that to a lifetime license for the dog.
Correct.
So what's the deal with that?
So and that's the challenge that we currently have right now is I think everybody loves the lifetime dog license portion of it. Trouble is, from an administrative role, we have no way of tracking that information and who has what, because dogs, move on to grassier fields at some point,
Go to
or
heaven.
people move. And so we might have to make some small revisions to that bylaw to say that we still need a yearly renewal, but your fee will still remain that one time. So that's going to be a little bit of administrative work and to track that so that we keep our records straight, because the records that we currently have on that front is
Do we like,
not desirable.
so did we track, like, I'm getting a dog license, my dog is the this?
Yeah, but once they renew their license, we have, if they don't come in for 3 years, we don't know have they has a dog passed. They come out of the dog, we don't know. So there's just no information.
You're checking dogs and all.
100%.
Yeah, so we just gotta do some small amendments to the existing
We're gonna
bylaw.
be visiting people.
And that's why you've seen those notices going out, just trying to say, we can encourage people just to report in, let us know where these are at. Then it's less cold calls.
Let's drive by.
That's right, that's right. So, with regards to fines, the estimated fines for 2021 budget was 1,100, and so we kept that number. It's really dependent on, how aggressive we get with fining. Ideally, I would like to try to work with the community and only as a last resort, fine people. I find finding only complicates the relationship worse, and not to mention then it's even more difficult for me to accomplish the goals that I need to accomplish that administration and council have put forward. So I'm going to work very hard to accomplish many things, but finding won't be one of them unless it's the last.
And just to add to that, if fine is administered, a bylaw tag is administered, after 30 days, if they don't pay that fine, we can go to the RCMP and issue a Part 2 summons, so it becomes a provincial ticket. One of the things you need to know that I have to rectify is in my travels of looking through boxes and so forth. The past administration wanted to see Part 2 ticket. in other words, the provincial tickets that were issued. I found 15 of them where the ticket was issued, but the white portion of the ticket that has to go to the courthouse was not delivered. That's to do with the RCMP. I have to rectify those, I have to reconcile those, and I'll have to go to the chief crown. Determine what the chief crown wants to do with those tickets.
So the court never received them in order to get the collection.
Well, yeah, and then some of them might be paid. Because when you get your yellow ticket, you're naturally going to pay it.
And they don't know what the money is, that is.
No, they hold it, they put it in our joint roads account.
Oh, because the people would have provided the ticket number, even though they don't know that even exists.
And these were issued by the RCMP?
No, by our bylaw, previous.
No, by our peace officers, before they were peace officers. The white copy never got to court, and the problem is if they were paid, we may have to refund. That happened in Drayton that I had to be involved into. There was over 165 tickets we had to reconcile with chief. Here, there's only 12.
You mentioned that before, there were tickets being submitted properly.
So when did we have,
We had Mitch.
we
and,
shared with other
years ago. Mitch was a peace officer. I think there's another lady who's a peace officer.
or
No, Doris was never a peace officer.
Carrie, yeah.
Carrie, that's right.
Yeah, and Carrie both for.
That's right. And as an administrator, I would potentially look at those tickets to see everything was filled in. But as an administrator, I have no jurisdiction once a provincial ticket is issued. None of us have jurisdiction. And the mere fact that they were held here and not submitted, I will reconcile. I know the chief crown, phoning in from other municipalities, so we'll try and rectify that as quickly as we can. But anyway. So, long story short, if something happens that Barry issues a fine and it's not paid, especially under certain acts, the RCMP can issue a Part 2 summons, Part 2 provincial ticket, and we would encourage that because especially with dangerous dogs or anything like that. Unsightlies are different. They're all orders to remedy, and that takes time. And you never want to go to Queen's Bench with those. That takes up to 4 years to get to Queen's Bench with an unsightly property. So those could take 2 to 3 years to rectify, or 2 years for sure, especially if you've got a hoarding issue or a mental health issue. So those are all orders to rectify. Oh, and we never attach those to the tax roll. We really have to put a cleanup act. We can try and work with the so, that's a ticket. So we have to issue with.
Start a reality TV show here and generate funds from, it would be a good show.
I'll call HGTV right away. It's just one of those things,
Oh, boy.
folks that, anyways, we'll fix it. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not going backwards in time to blame. It's just, I'm letting you know what's going on, and we'll fix it. Thank you.
So moving on to, bylaw services proposed expenses, in council. So 2021 budget was 21,500. And that's for salary wages, so 14,400. Benefits, 15,000. The cell phone we took out of, I believe, general and created a separate account for it under bylaw for 1,000. So the cell phone will be $1,000. Legal fees and miscellaneous services. So that would be for like foreign offers, posters, insurance stuff that we need.
Oh, and just to let you know on the legal, we try and stay away from, that's why we go to a Part 2 ticket if we can, because otherwise, if we have to take a bylaw take to court, we have to pay for a prosecutor. So I'd rather go to Part 2 tickets with the RCMP. Thanks, Barry.
Under animal control and veterinary care, last year when we found Kevin, everybody's familiar with Kevin, the dog. We certainly captured the hearts of the Thorsby. But Kevin had a frozen tail and was really cold there. So we are obligated to deal with a dog with stress. And so we had to do a veterinary inspection and just ensure everything was good. That poor dog was so we have that. So in the event that we come across some of those similar situations, then we have to have a small land account to address that.
Did the adoptee paid the vet bill? Yeah, so that was no cost to us, but we are bound by the province, animals in distress, we do have to have a veterinary account, we are bound. We get it back through the adoptive parent or through the owner, but we have to take care of that animal, we have no choice. If we collect that animal. If you take it to the vet, that's not on us.
So yeah, in the event that, you know, we do come across animals that require an urgent care, we are obligated to do a little bit to try to keep the ball rolling and do that animal. So there is no land account there. There is no officer contract. That's position, no. There are no kennel charges. And we're going to try our very best to make sure we don't incur additional charges. That's up to the kennel. If we were to keep an animal there,
The only,
have those.
right, and the only change is that if we've levied a fine, that animal does not let go out of that kennel until that fine is paid, so the kennel knows that, so we get our fine out of that. We just don't collect the jail and bail, that's the kennel. But we collect the fine before that animal is paid.
So in Kevin's situation, there was a vet bill and a small little dog collar, because he was nothing, that we would have to collect back.
It's a condition of release.
Yeah, that's-
Criminal justice dog.
Yeah, looking at vehicle maintenance, we shouldn't really be going anywhere. Unless we hit a really enormous pothole in Thorsby, we should have no maintenance hopefully for the vehicle. But we did budget a small amount, $1,000, fuel and do car washes, which vehicle is all clean and fueled up. Armor, $1,000, supplies. That's to do a few signs and maybe get some touches out there. I think we do have a bit of a challenge in this meeting with respect to we need to educate people more on they're obligated to keep their dog on a leash and to not have their dog leave a little surprise bombs on sidewalks. So there has to be some creative signage and maybe some sensors that kind of hand it out as encourage people to use those when they're walking their dogs. So that's $700. Training, $500. Expensive animal handling regulations. Clothing, that would be for a jacket, footwear, possible.
When did we get our own vehicle?
I know it was here when we got here, probably last year, I think. Well, that's,
No, we got it from Drayton Valley.
that's great.
Brazos
Brazos County, that was their piece of.
Yeah, they were getting rid of it, replacing it, and it was a very low cost. They were just getting rid of it, so to speak. They made us.
And it does have all the bells and whistles. It does have all the LEDs, you know, I think Andrew has converted most of them over to an amber style of strobe. We're not allowed to have the red and blues, obviously, but, you know, it's good for the event that we have to do traffic control or assist where we need to supply support. If we have a water break or maybe we need somebody manning the street, I can help with that kind of stuff. So the car is very visible and it does serve a nice purpose in the community. And so nice to have that. So yeah, those costs come to $51,450. For expenses. And that is my presentation. Here to answer any questions from council.
So you say you do Warwick too, like a part-time contract?
A full contract.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with that.
Yeah, I've been doing work for 2019. And I will say there, it is nice to have a couple kind of, you know, contracts or agreements in place, because then we can see what's trending kind of across areas, right? So, and I do find that our RCMP, they just don't know our situation, and quite often people are calling them nonstop about stuff that's strictly bylaw related stuff. And so they have to constantly remind them to contact the bylaw person. You know, because they just simply can't take on all those responsibilities.
They don't do bylaw period.
Yeah.
Personalities don't do bylaw.
It- Yeah, I like cows, but not in my yard.
Yeah, there's a lot of issues with that lately, right?
Twice now, they get in there and they be going. I phoned the, Thorsby stockyard, it's probably one of ours. So,
Well, they keep blaming it on the,
the guy's delivering, it fell out of the.
I like, how do cows fall out of trucks and they don't notice?
They don't know. They fall out of truck.
Yeah, I know, I think we've had three or four last year alone.
Yeah.
I put a few animals in my cul-de-sac.
Oh, yeah.
A deer and a horse.
Deer, and quite a few deer, double.
Oh, yeah, deer I got lost, too, I'm not worried about that, but it's the cows, they're big.
They're a little big.
Running down the middle of the highway out of town and stopped in the middle of the bridge, this is the second time. And the big trucks, well, they just honk and hope the cow gets out of the way.
They don't have pig sales with dogs.
Yeah. Well, they did because their pigs got out.
Oh, it was a special sale.
Don't think so, like, it's just down.
Yeah, I've heard of, but I don't know, I don't follow it. but,
Come on.
As far as I knew, it was strictly cattle, but
And they said, well, no, we did have a round of pigs through, and if it's in your yard, what's your address? And then, of course, well, where are you? I said, well, by the bridge. What bridge? The Devon Bridge.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm like, yeah.
Came to Devon.
You know, but you gotta do something, I mean.
We'll look at special patrols on our safety in the Sandbury.
Great question, yeah. What do you contract, what do you contract them for?
I kind of make my own schedule. So like, for instance,
One?
yeah, so like on Tuesday, I always try to go on a Tuesday. So instead of, you know, when it comes to my health students, I'm not collecting the extra hours. I'll go during a couple hours. So there's no time to choose.
Because it's a contract, so you can choose whenever you go.
As long as you fulfill your hours, here you have 40 hours or 37 and a half hours a week here, would work with any kind of 1 hour or so. Right.
And then for whatever reason, if I find that, hours here, then so I make up the schedule sometimes Saturday. Well, and yeah, it's no different. Bylaw issues are, you know, issues are the same, like whenever going through one of the issues. And it's always consistent. The main ones are unsightly grass cutting, snow shoveling, loud noises, a collection of
Barking dogs.
yeah, but not so much. Communities are pretty used to it now. Just a collection of extra stuff in people's yards that upsets the neighbors. Those are your consistent targeted things that always seem to be the highlight of my time.
We have traps, we have traps.
We don't have traps. Well, we have traps for
Cat
that would be for cats or, you know, rodents of some sort. We don't have a bylaw enforcement specifically for cats, but we do have a trap that if somebody wants to catch it, feral cat.
We did that over.
Caught one this week.
We would provide that,
That's what I wondered.
and then we would leave it up to the resident to either find the owner or find a home on a farm. The challenge that we have right now is no rescues want cats. It's a hard no thank you, we're full. So we just can't take the cats to rescue. No skunk complaints, no.
We don't trap them.
Yeah.
You forgot.
And one of the things that maybe council's not aware of, outside of the bylaw vehicle, we have the pole, catch dogs, right? So that would go wrap around their legs or, however we catch them.
Not
If
their
we, if we can catch them, right? That's the challenge, right? Most dogs are just skittish, like that one we had not that long ago, within 50 feet, and see the leg, right? There's no way I'm gonna catch it, but if the dog is reasonable and we can catch them, we will. But some of the tools that we have coming at disposal is we have a body cam. I do have a chip reader. So if the dog has a chip in the ear, whether that's the dog or cat, we can read it. To verify, we have chips registered on our paperwork. Things like, the only thing we are shy on are like a vest, jacket. And the gear that I wear is stuff that I have bought for Warburg, but it doesn't accompany a body cam pocket or holster. And I did have a difficult situation to deal with here last week that I wish I would have had the body cam on.
I was gonna ask, how generally are people when you have issues in regards?
Most residents, I would say 85% of the residents are very welcoming and understanding. There are a small percentage that are radically charged on being bothered at all, and then there's a small five that don't want to talk. So
You had a fight, somebody comes under my shed, who's responsible with that? Who's the trap, or you say you're the trap?
They are,
yeah, we will provide some of the equipment that we have.
not for some,
Not for skunks, because I do know the county does offer some stuff too, like they offer manufacturing. They offer a large trapping cage, the county does, so if you have a large dog that's running wild, they will provide a trap, we use their trap in the past. We only have a small trap for small animals, that's all we can do.
there's some strict rules. A resident, traps a cat, they have to make sure there's food and water in that cage. And in the winter, it's to be checked every 20 minutes. So when the cat was trapped last week, that's the rule. That cat was successfully located to a farm. We found a farmer that does it, but we supply the cage, we supply the liability, so we have to deal with it. So they bring in stuff that we do have a farm that will take 3 more pharaohs. We do have that, and so if we have to trap 3 more pharaohs.
Did she take the trap back? Because
No, we have to
said there
trap.
was more than one.
Yeah, I think she fixed her, she covered in her, screened in her porch or whatever, and that stuff like that. We do have to disinfect that trap. But skunks, people don't like
There is one
skunks.
around. but,
Yeah.
Twice in the last week.
Yeah, we don't.
Sure it wasn't hot.
That's what I was gonna say. Sure was skunk.
Yeah, sure. We don't trap wild we don't trap wild animals, sir.
Yeah, and then the only other piece of equipment that we probably need is a larger dog kennel, in the event that we do catch a dog that we have to someplace to hold on. We don't have one of those cages right now. And it would be good for transporting purposes and or dogs pass through overnight. If it's captured in the middle of the night and everything's shut down, then put them in the shop overnight, we have kind of kennel. We actually had in Warburg here last year, we actually put portable panels up in their shop, created a nice little space for him to kind of hang out for the evening, and then the next day we would have attempted to find the owner. He actually somehow scaled that fence and actually ate through the door and got out. So when they want to get out,
Oh, they will.
they want to get out.
They will get out.
Yeah, he actually ate through the wood panel door of the public works shop, and he's gone the next one. So when they're determined, they'll get through. So,
Those big kennels are like 55 bucks.
yeah, they're not much.
All right. Anything else? Yeah, Public Works is Tuesday, we need the whole. Then, hang on. You know, proposed date. Correct me if I'm wrong, Cindy, because-
Oh, I will.
I know.
24th of April.
I wrote them down in my office. So I'm not sure what day is that.
It's Sunday.
We want to have the debate, final debate and the passage. So we're recommending we call a special meeting and advertise it.
Does that give us enough time?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, we'll do that the day. You probably wouldn't pass the bylaw until the council meeting on the 26th. But at least get then that would give us time.
We can't pass, can we pass a bylaw on the 26th? That's a cow, isn't it?
Nope.
First and third of council, or is it second and fourth?
Well,
We
you're
switched it.
gonna have to.
Part of the next council meeting is we're going to
Not the next
recommend,
Yeah, and the next one, yeah.
this is Kyle, coming up.
And April 5th will be the first.
April 5th.
Regular council
We
meeting.
are going to propose 2 council meetings a month. Hold that for deliberation. Follow the subject of 29th. Yeah.
The 24th is right.
Yes.
That can be, you should plan for a longer date for that.
Yeah, I would say probably longer, like I would schedule.
Okay, just so I know for council, can you just provide me the date? So,
So April 24th.
yeah.
And the reason it's like a month from now is because people are on holidays, Ellie's gone,
All your binders ready.
and we'll get the binders and we'll get everything finalized and get all the book budgets put in the main spreadsheet and stuff, so there's
Finalize a few last minute numbers.
do all those things, yeah. And then 26th would be the bylaw.
So are we talking like 10 again on the?
Yeah, if that works, that's easier for us to get here, to get the room ready.
26th regular council meeting. That would be the tax bylaw. Tax bylaw and tax budget.
But what I was asking, because I know there's only certain things we can pass or make motions for in regard to the cow, are we gonna be able to do those things on the 26th?
Yeah.
Because it's a cow.
So if, Donna and I discussed this yesterday, if 2 council meetings is approved, then we would have a cow on the 12th and then a regular council meeting on the 26th. So there would be 3 meetings in April and then go to break. And then we would do the first meeting of the month, would be the 2nd and the 4th. Right?
Yeah, regular council meeting would be the last.
So then in May, you go to 10th and the 24th. 7th.
So we can't pass anything on it out. We'll have that in a request for decision for Tuesday.
For the 5th.
In all these meetings, yeah.
I know I have some other stuff in and around that weekend. I don't want to. Something that where the other.
So you guys are gonna propose to us, coming in April, you wanna cut the meeting in half.
Yeah, we can adjust.
Yeah, we have time.
There's time to adjust, not a word.
And then, yeah, because there's the weekend before.
Okay, if that's the case, then I guess.
Thank you again for coming out. with the
Thank you
storm.
very much.
You got that, or are you gonna get here?
Here we go. That was the plan.
Yeah, that was the fun, the whole time, no.
That was the plan.
And if I could have your paydays,